Hello, this is Manish Patel from Ichimoku Today is April 14, 2013, where we're going to analyze what's happened in the last 2 weeks and also kind of give you price projections and kind of see what to look at for the next 2 weeks moving forward. In this weekly, bi-weekly video, we're going to cover all the commodity futures, heating oil, natural gas, pretty much lumber, sugar, bonds, everything pretty much on the future side. It's our normal disclaimer. This is for educational use only. We're not soliciting you to buy or sell any particular instruments out there. If you do so, you're doing that at your own risk. All the charts today we're going to be looking at are basically from TradeStation. Okay. And this is our normal, this are our contact details here. We email us here at info@eiicapital.com, or you could call us in any of our office locations here, or you could go to our website, ichimokutrade.com, where you could access our blogs, our forums, our free videos, also multiple time frame email alerts, and so forth. Okay, so let's go straight to TradeStation and start looking at the futures here. Remember, the left-hand side is basically the daily time frame. Right-hand side is basically the weekly time frame. First one we're going to look at, if you look here, this is basically, come on, soybean oil. Okay, if you look at soybean oil, right here, it's basically started a trend here. Just sit there and it says consolidation pattern right now. This is still very strong bearish, believe it or not, but it's at its support. It's got to break that support to continue the trend downwards, which is support is basically at 48.40. Major resistance is going to be around 51, but we do have a minor one at 49.66 on this one. Next currency pair is going to be corn. If you look here at corn, basically it started a big move down last 2 weeks ago. Last week it kind of pulled up here this last week here, but this did change the sentiment to be bearish, and you do have a possibility starting a trend to the downside right now. If you look at resistance, it's going to be basically at 682.38, and support is going to be 628.48 right now. But this is trending slowly to the downside, and this has a possibility in getting to about at least the 600 in the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye on that one as we move forward. If you look at this one, we're looking at actually here cocoa. If you look at cocoa, sentiment has changed to be bullish on the daily time frame. However, that doesn't really mean anything. There's a natural trend on this. It's still bearish, believe it or not, until it could break its resistance level at 23.12. If it does, then it's at least going to get to about 2400. Support levels on this one is 21.38. So it's got to break that 21.38 level to start a major trend to the downside on both the daily and weekly. Crude oil, as you probably guys saw, there was a lot of interesting action this week, especially last Friday. If you look at the big bar, red bar here, really not telling you anything, because this thing's really ranging between 90.18 and 94.73. So that's the natural range right now. 98 is basically going to be the major resistance, but you got a 91 at 94.73. So this thing's basically ranging between 98 really and 90.18, but nothing to the trending side at all. Next, we're going to look at here cotton. Remember this one, we said keep an eye on this one because this can start a bullish trend. It's getting to a support level 84.41. It's major support level. There's a minor one at about 85.08. It's got to sit there and hold there. And if it holds there, it's got to break its resistance at 89.70 to retest this pivot high and to sit there and to continue its trend upwards. Right now, this is still very, very strong, but you got to sit there and break that resistance of 98.70 in order to start a big, nice institutional wave to the top side. The dollar, a dollar index here, really nothing going on right now except ranging between 81.96 and 83.42. This is still bullish. Sentiment still bullish, and it remains still sentiment bullish until it breaks the support at 91.96. Feeder cattle, if you look here, still going to the downside right here. Still trading above the daily and weekly to the downside. It's at a major support at 140.69. Resistance on this is going to be 146.96. 5-year Treasury notes here. You can see it broke its resistance at 124.09. Now it's got to sit there and hold that as a support in order to start a trend to the top side. But it's got to start moving higher in order for a trend to basically occur on the weekly time frame for that. Heating oil. You could see here, you could see it looks like a trend on the daily time frame, and if you look here, it basically got to its major support at 2.857. Bounce off there. It's got to break that support to basically start a trend to the downside, but the weekly time frame does not look clean as of right now. It definitely needs a pullback. If they could pull back or consolidate a little, everything will kind of catch up, and then it could sit there and break that support. This thing can sit there and possibly tank, but you never know. If the trend is very, very strong to the bearish side, this will break this right away and not even experience a pullback at all. So it'll be interesting to see exactly where heating oil ends up by the end of this week. Coffee is resuming its trend to the downside. This was pretty much a trade of the week last week. You could see that from our blog at ichimokowebsite.com. And so pretty much this is a natural trend still to the downside on the weekly. So all we've been doing is looking for day trading opportunities to short coffee over and over and over. This is lumber. Lumber's really not doing anything except ranging between 373 and 388. Nothing really to talk about there. Live cattle here is trending to the trending to the downside. It's bearish. It's at a major support at 120.04. Major resistance is going to be 124.31. Lean hogs here, really not doing anything except consolidating between 88 and basically if you look at the top of the range is up here at 101. The middle of the consolidation pattern resistance is going to be about 95.12. So this thing's really not doing anything exciting. So pretty much ignore this one and move on to find something better. Natural gas here, a lot of people starting bullish. I don't know why, because all you're really doing is getting to the top of the consolidation pattern, which is roughly around 4.215, which it did pretty much last year. And if you look at the bottom of the consolidation pattern, it's pretty much down here. So all we're doing is ranging between 3.2 roughly to here 4.215, which pretty much got. So I'd be very, very careful to sit there and go bullish on natural gas now. If you're not in it, I would be patient and wait to see exactly what happens around this resistance level before you sit there and adding any new positions. If you're in it, tighten your stop and protect your profits. This is basically oats. Nothing really going on here either. You could see it's been one big consolidation pattern. Nothing really going on in there. If you look at the support, basically support on this one's going to be basically about 365. Resistance is going to be basically 384. Orange juice. Here, it's trying to start a trend to the bullish side, but doesn't seem to can break this resistance here at 148.51. If it could break that resistance, then this definitely will start a trend to the upside. So I'll definitely keep an eye on this one moving forward. Platinum, really not doing anything except consolidating this big wide range. It's at a minor support right now of 1496, and the major minor resistance is going to be 1545. This natural trend is to the downside, believe it or not. So all it has to do is break this little support here. If it does, then it's going to come down to at least to 1400 to retest that low. So keep an eye on that one as the next couple of weeks go forward. Gasoline here, finally sitting there undergoing a major pullback. Could possibly be a trend reversal. We don't know right now. It's basically next support is going to be 2.63, and the resistance on this guy is going to be about 2.9830. Rice right here, really not doing anything at all. It was sitting there starting a trend to the downside, but this thing is just ugly. You can see here it did not follow through at all. Okay. This is soybean here. Soybean here is just ranging between 1320 and 1447. So nothing really going on there at all. The more this consolidates, basically, believe it or not, the more higher chance it's going to have to start a trend to the downside. Reason why is this thing needs to really start there and follow through and start going up, but it really hasn't done so at all. It's going up here. It should have sat there by now and started going up, but it really hasn't. So the longer this thing consolidates, the more weak it looks to the bullish side. Okay. Um, you got sugar here, still going down, still trend is bearish on the weekly time frame. So this is slowly going down. You can see if in a daily time frame it's going for a pullback right now. Minor resistance level is going to be about 1830, which has got to hold here for this to continue to go down. And if it doesn't, then this is probably going to go for a pullback. But if it holds there, then at least we'll retest the lows and start continuing to go down. So this one definitely I'll keep on watching right around 1830 and see what happens. Gold, you guys could see here, big movement down, and you could see here it was basically starting a trend to the downside here, little consolidation pattern, which it pretty much broke Friday, as you could see here. It's getting to the bottom of its consolidation pattern, which is 1467. Top of the consolidation pattern pretty much is 1619. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what's happening here at 1467. I mean, everyone is looking at that one and is going to see exactly what it does moving forward. Soybean meal, really not doing anything except consolidating between 391 and 422. 2-year Treasury notes, really not doing anything at all. Here it's just basically the next resistance is 110,09. Support on this is 110,06. Little tight range in there. The 10-year Treasury notes, also tight range in there. Broke a little resistance here, but still kind of hang around, so it really hasn't broken it at all, which is 132,27, and support's going to be 131,17. 30-year here. As you can see, it's not even at its resistance compared to the others, so that's pretty interesting to see. Well, I just messed up the charts too. Let me go backwards and come back here. You could see here resistance is 149, 832, and support is going to be 145, 432. Wheat, really not doing anything. It's pretty much sitting there trending to the downside. The daily looks very ugly, as you could see, but basically it's at a minor resistance level right now. If it starts pulling back, then it's going to go up and could possibly destroy this bearish trend. But this is naturally trending to the downside, believe it or not, right now. Okay. Silver has been pretty much bearish trending for a while, both the daily and weekly, as you could see, and it's continued to go down. This is a great pairs trade if you guys had done it, where you went long gold and short silver. The pairs trade is working out really well right now. And you could see here silver's trying to get to a support at 25.52, and resistance is going to be 26.97. And then lastly, copper. You could see here, it's at its major support at 3.32. If it breaks this is going to start a trend to the downside, so watch out, because it will be a multiple time frame sell too. Because you can see the daily is trending already, and it's at a support. So copper is kind of on its little borderline right now of breaking a major consolidation pattern. If it does, this thing will tank. So keep an eye on copper for sure this week, because I have a feeling it's going to possibly break down to the downside. Also keep an eye on gold, because it's at the bottom of the consolidation pattern. Coffee, if you're not in it already, it may be a little too late, but we've already been in that for a while. And then the others were kind of just sitting tight and holding on and waiting for them to get their major support resistances, and then kind of determine exactly what's going to happen there. That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in 2 weeks.